also go and promote. Oh my God.
Oh, it's hot in my office right now.
Was it?
It's hot. Yeah.
I really can't believe Twitch TV, man. That really blew up, didn't it?
Twitch?
Yeah.
I'd say so. And doesn't seem like anybody's really, I guess, Microsoft's trying pretty hard right now. But
yeah. Okay, I want to just throw this up on the Twitters.
Cool. Oh, you're good. You're up. God, I gotta straighten up the back of my thing. For all to see. I get my Kylo Ren in order.
We're already streaming, so we're seeing it all.
I'm frozen on my thing. I don't know if
it's because Skype's not in the foreground.
All right,
but you will be back. Trust me.
Okay. Let's go. Right.
Where's your image at? Steve, there we
go. All right.
Yeah, for whatever reason, if I don't know if it's a power saving thing or whatever. But,
yeah.
It'll just stop doing stuff. But don't worry, peoples. We'll be back. All right. Sending your tweet. Tweet is sent. So here's our Twitch. Oh, that's crafty there, Twitch. If you put it into a window or a tab, it stops the ad, forcing you to watch the whole ad.
Oh God, really? That's crazy.
Okay, so we seem to be here. Got some folks in there.
Hi, folks. I wonder if I can... Oh, you know what? Hold on.
You can type in there.
No, I want to... PM Tucker, what up? I can host you on my Twitch.
Yes, that is a thing that can happen. I don't know how it works, but I know it can happen.
I know how to do it. I actually know how to do it. Oh, shoot. The GDEX. I believe that's how you do it. Let's see if it works. Yay, it worked.
Awesome. Ready to rock and roll?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another GDEX pre-interview with some of our special guests that will be at GDEX 2018, which is this weekend in 3 days in Columbus, Ohio. So I am Chris Volpe. Find me at Volpe Creates, and I'm joined today by Steve Hamaker, at Steve Hamaker, who is an artist, illustrator, I think all-around nerd, as well as you have joined us this year as a board member for GDEX.
Yes.
So this is the first year that you've helped us on the board, but you have been a part of the behind-the-scenes discussions. You've sort of seen how the sausage is made. What's your experience been so far with GDEX?
It's been great. You guys kind of, you've got your thing. You're doing it. I'm impressed. I've never done anything like this, so you guys could be terrible, and I wouldn't know.
Sweet.
But no, it's been great. It's been really fun.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, I know that you may not have done something like this, but you are involved in another event that's happening the same weekend at Columbus. You sort of more on your Illustrator comic front. So I don't know if you want to give the people who are listening just a little background about you and your involvement in illustration and art and comics.
Yeah, sure. Well, I've been in Columbus since I came here for CCAD in '93, so I've been here for a long time. And I got a job as a colorist for a local cartoonist. His name's Jeff Smith. He did a book called Bone, and that book got picked up by Scholastic, and they paid us to colorize it, and so I was the colorist on that book, and that kind of just rocketed me into uh, like a career as a colorist. So I started coloring for other people. I obviously finished all of Jeff's The Bone Story, and then his next book called Wrestle. And that ended in like 2013, I think, is when we finished that. So since that point, I've been doing my own comics and also coloring for other people. And I'm working on a two-book deal right now with Random House, so I'm doing the illustration for that. So yeah, it's been ever since that, right around 2001, 2002, when I first started coloring for Jeff. It's been nonstop, like
That's awesome.
work and comics. So yeah, it's been great.
And I think I told you the first time that we sort of met and chatted, I went home. I went to a friend's house and I was gonna go to use the restroom, and Bone was he had a giant like anthology of
Oh
Bone
yeah,
sitting there, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, oh hey, and I looked at it, it said like color and illustration by
yeah,
Steve Hamaker or whatever. I was like, that's awesome.
yeah. Awesome. You vetted me. That was
Yeah,
cool.
I vetted you while using the restroom. Yep,
Yeah, exactly.
very very thorough. Um, So you're going to be doing quite a bit at GDEX this weekend. You're on a couple panels. Going to be doing some conversations. Do you want to let the folks know what you're going to be discussing over the weekend?
Yeah, sure. The ones I know about anyway, I know we're doing a panel. My friend Scott Johnson of The Instance and Frog Pants Studios fame is going to be in town. I've known him for years. I was a fan when he first started podcasting back in 2005, really at the dawn of when podcasting became a thing that people remembered and took took notice of. So it's great that he's coming in. I just love him as a person and want to hang out with him, but also I think he's great for what GDEX is all about as far as the community driven gamer stuff that you guys are really into. And he's just going to be, talking about his shows and the way that he got started in his industry and everything, which I think is going to be cool. So he and I are going to be on a panel for sure. I think talking about balancing your family and your career, which for somebody like me and him who work at home, especially, I've got a 6-year-old. He's got grown kids now, but he's definitely a guy that has a lot of expertise in that, and I think I've got some tips and tricks that I can share. Other
I'm
than that, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm really excited to see that panel. Like I don't have any kids, but even just trying to navigate having a fiance, getting married, and all
Yeah,
this stuff is challenging. So I'm really
yeah,
interested to see that. And I mean, you're also in addition to like some of the book projects you're doing, you also do your own thing, Plox, which is like a
yep, yeah.
Columbus-based graphic novel.
That's right. Yeah. So when I stopped coloring full time for Jeff Smith, I decided to take that opportunity to do some other stuff, and one of those things included a graphic novel project that I had been working on in my head for years about a video gamer who kind of loses his focus and kind of freaks out and sort of has a rage quit moment in life, and that developed into a book that's called Plox, and it was a web comic at first. I was updating about twice a week for about 3 years. Then I kickstarted the book when it was done, and so now I've got about a 250-page graphic novel. It's called Plox Hell as Other Players, and it's about three people that live and game in Columbus, Ohio. It's based on my life loosely, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I haven't been able to do much, recently with it just because I've got other jobs that have sort of taken the forefront of my time. But it's still something that I really proud of, and I'm going to be having I'll be showing stuff, and I'll be selling books and doing stuff Plox related all weekend at the GDEX.
I would definitely recommend picking one up. You generously provided me one, which I read. I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but one of the goals that I had this year was to try to read 12 books,
Yeah,
throughout the year, so a book a month, and Plox was the first one that I read. So
awesome.
that was
So honored. I'm very
uh,
honored.
and I thought it was great. It definitely took me back to my World of Warcraft days for sure.
Yeah, it's the Wrath of the Lich King. If you ever played
Yep.
Warcraft, right at the peak, probably that was probably the peak for most everybody. that ever played that game. But
Yeah, I started playing at vanilla and did up through Wrath, and then after Wrath, I was just like, I kind of need it. I gotta stop. I gotta take a break.
I think a lot of people did. I think it really was a moment where there were so many people playing and it was affecting so many people's lives.
Yeah,
Sometimes positive, but most of the time it was a little negative because I think people got, I know I did. That's where the book comes from. It's really all about what was going on in my head
yeah,
and with my lifestyle. Spoiler alert, I did not have a wife and kid then, so if you're
yeah.
wondering how I balanced that life with a family, it was I didn't.
It's actually kind of funny. It's a running joke in my life that the first time I ever met my fiance, she walked in the house and I was playing World of Warcraft. And it goes to show that like I don't have any recollection of meeting her at that. Like I have a completely different memory of the first time that I met her. And she's like, "No, we met this time, but because I was raid leading at the time, and
Oh my
I
God.
didn't really notice her come in or anything."
Yeah,
Um,
that's hilarious. Yeah,
so
you met. That's exactly it. It's like the idea that you had an experience and you can't remember it because you were playing World of Warcraft.
yeah, yeah.
That's hilarious.
So Scott kind of talked about this a little bit, but I mean, how did your sort of gaming and comic and nerd background, like, and how has that sort of impacted you and what you do? I mean, throughout almost all your life, right?
It has been all my life. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little older than you. I'm 43. So in the early 80s, when I was probably 6, 7 years old, I was playing the Atari 2600. I didn't do a ton of arcade stuff until I was older. Arcades back then were, there were arcades everywhere. There were cabinets everywhere.
Hmm.
So if I happened to be at like a roller rink, which obviously back in the 80s was still popular. They would have Donkey Kong there or something, and I would play. But I think the fact that you had to pay to play and all that, especially as a kid, like you only get so many quarters from your parents and all that.
Yeah,
So the whole home console thing, yeah, I just was right in the crux of that with the Atari and Nintendo. When the Nintendo came out, I was like, I think I was 10 or 11 years old. I was like the perfect age to and my dad did the whole like Christmas story thing where I opened all my presents and I didn't get the Nintendo, and then he told me to go up and get ready for church, and on the stairs like there was a box that was, as a kid I knew what the size of the Nintendo box looked like,
yeah,
and I just knew what it was, and I got my Nintendo. I got that first 8-bit Nintendo, and I just played the crap out of that. Mario and Metroid. I mean, I probably put more time into Metroid than I've maybe more time into Metroid than I put into Warcraft, at least for the first couple of years I played Warcraft.
oh wow.
maybe not now, but I just played it all the time. I love that game. I
Yeah,
just
the
sunk
game's
so much
amazing.
time into it. Yeah. So yeah, and it's just all my life I've had a console. I got really big into PC gaming when EverQuest came out in the late 90s. My cousin and all my friends, sort of were doing the same kind of thing. So we would play together, and we just had like it was like we were sort of growing up, together in terms of being gamer geeks. And then so, a lot of those people that I played Warcraft with, now I still play other games with and everything. So I have tons of friends, as you probably do, that I've never actually met in real life,
Yep.
but I've been playing video games, some of them for 15, 20 years, not 20, but maybe 15 years. It's crazy. Some of them I've been lucky enough to meet at things like GDEX, and I've gone to PAX, and I'm going to be going to BlizzCon for probably the fourth or fifth time this November, so I get to see people, see people there too. It's crazy. Like that, I think that aspect of it is something that I never thought would be a thing. Like playing with video, it's the internet video game thing, right? Like playing, with people from other countries or other states. It's you don't think about it, and then when you get to know them and then you meet them in real life, it's astonishing
Yeah.
that we've gotten to that point, and it just makes the community that much richer to me anyway. So
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too, just with internet and gamer culture. It's similar to for those who may not be from Columbus. Columbus is a large city. We're the 15th largest city in the country, same size as San Francisco. Um, but we're also a really small city in a lot of respects. It's like kind of everybody knows each other here in
sure.
Columbus. And I think one of the things that kind of threw me for a loop too is last year we had Stephen Frost come to GDEX. He was a speaker, and you and I were talking, and you're like, you're like, oh yeah, I've known that guy for forever, and you're like, hold on a second, and you pull out Plox, and you've got like a drawing of Stefan in one of the
Yeah,
panels for
yeah, he's
Plox.
in. Yeah, he's in it because I became friends through another friend of ours, a mutual friend, Scott Kurtz, who's also a cartoonist, who I'd love to come someday to GDEX also. But yeah, when he was working on WildStar, when Stefan was working on WildStar, me and Scott, we got into the beta, and Scott and him became friends because I think Stefan was, like a fan of PvP, as many people are. So yeah, we just became friendly, and when I went to BlizzCon a couple of years in a row, at least one, I hung out with him. He showed us around Blizzard when he was working there, a couple of years ago, and yeah, kind of dovetailing from that story into how I got involved with you, which you may be leading up to, is I met Stefan. He was in town, and I met him at a bar because you guys were having, I think, some sort of a party or maybe an after party thing at the
Yeah.
arcade bar down above Barley's downtown,
Yep.
and I was like, I have to, first of all, I have to go see Frost because I love Frost, and secondly, I'm going to use him to find the guy that's running this show, because I was blown away that there was a video game conference in town, and I didn't know about it until like 2 weeks before that. So I think I totally, like, yelled at you like, "Oh my God, you're the guy! I want to be involved."
Yeah.
And
Well,
luckily you took me up on it, and it's been really fun helping out ever since. But
I
yeah,
mean, I appreciate all your help. Like with this, GDEX just grew out of this community endeavor, and so like it's not
yeah,
uncommon where people are like, I didn't even know this existed, or like
right,
we're trying to get better at promoting it and stuff,
of course,
because it just every year it gets bigger and we do more things, and like we try to add stuff. Like this year you are testing out our sort of artist in residence idea, where every year we'll have an artist come and create an art piece based around gaming and GDEX and the culture.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we have your prints, I believe, sitting over there in the
sweet,
corner, um, ready for sale, and then
awesome,
you'll be able to sign them at the show. And so we're
yeah, that'll
always
be fun,
trying to find like new ways to involve different people in the community and whatnot.
yeah,
So I'm glad that you used the routes you had available to reach out to me.
yep.
Um, so I want to be conscious of your time. I know you got some things going on. So one of the things I like to ask all the speakers before we sort of wrap up is like, what are you looking forward to at GDEX outside of your talks and maybe the things you're participating? Are there other sessions? Are there games you're interested in checking out? Like, what are you excited about for the
I
next three
I
days?
think yeah, I think I'm excited because that's the thing. I sort of came in late last year. Well, you guys were already doing the show, and I was busy with CXE, which is a comics festival in town during that same weekend. It's going to be the same this year. So I was a little distracted, and I wasn't able to come down and see the actual show. So I'm just excited to see it, see what kinds of stuff you guys do. I'm going to go to as many talks as I can possibly go to. I'm really looking forward to meeting people and just meeting new people. Hopefully, people will be interested in the book and stuff. But just kind of being at the exhibitor, on the exhibitor floor is always fun for me. I've done lots of conventions and stuff. I really enjoy, talking to people, and obviously hanging out with Scott, hanging out with you, and all the people that put the show on that I've gotten to know over the last 8 months, 10 months or so. It's going to be cool.
Awesome. Yeah, we do have a lot of good speakers, and we've got we'll have our kickoff party and our dance party and stuff. So opportunities just chill and get to
Yeah.
meet people. And we've got I don't know how many. I haven't done the final count for this year, but last year we had people from 23 states come. So
Oh my God.
yeah, we've
Yeah.
heard people. So I don't know where we are this year, but I've been just sort of like casually looking, and it seems like we have a lot of folks coming from all over. So
That's great.
and we've got a lot of new faces this year that I don't even know. So I'm excited to meet them.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, do you have any last thoughts before we break? And
Just if you're watching this, definitely come to the show. I think there's going to be a lot going on in Columbus this weekend. Yeah, I'm just excited. I think the parties are going to be so much fun, just because that's where everybody can kind of decompress and chill out and
yeah,
enjoy one another. So it's going to be
absolutely.
great. So if this is the first time you're learning about GDEX, please go check out the website and find out, just like I did last year, find out what's going on, because there's some really cool stuff going on.
Sweet. Well, Steve, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Again, that is Steve Hamaker. You can find him at Steve Hamaker. Simple enough. I'm Chris Volpe, and you can find me at Volpe Creates, wherever your interwebs desire. Other than that, please check out GDEX 2018. It's thegdex.com. It's happening this weekend, which is the last weekend of September in 2018. That's what year we're in, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get going. The team feels real good about it. We have a lot of fun stuff. So thank you again, Steve, and everybody else. We will see you this weekend.
See you guys.